What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a deck centered around Golisopod-GX and Garbodor. This is kind of a version of the deck based off the one that was second at Worlds, I believe, and I just kind of altered a few numbers of cards here and there for the current meta. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And then as for the question of the day, this is completely unrelated to this deck at all. But for whatever reason, I've been on a real Heroes of the Storm binge. Like, I just really enjoy watching that on YouTube. That's during my free time. If I want to pull up something, I'll just be like, you know what, I'll just pull up a random Heroes of the Storm match that occurred between like Dignitas and Fnatic or something to that effect and just watch it. And I've really enjoyed watching it, but I've absolutely no idea how to play it at all. I mean, you can ask me, hey, how do you move a character? And I'll say, you think really, really hard. Okay, maybe not to that extent, but I mean, it's just a game that I really enjoy watching, but I have literally no idea how to play it. So that got me thinking, well, are there other people that do stuff like this? So my question of the day is, what is a game, can be like a real sport, or it can be a video game that you guys really enjoy watching, but you have utterly zero idea how to play it. That's not to say that you're not good at it. Like, that's not, I'm not saying like what's something that you watch but you're not good at, no, because then I would say, well, okay, not sports in general, but then I would say like probably baseball, just because never been able to quite get the bat speed to be really good, but I know how to play it. No, that's not the question. The question is, what is a video game or a sport that you guys have zero idea how to play, but you actually really, really enjoy watching? Now, there might be some of you that's like, Sticks, what is wrong with you? Of course I know how to play this video game, but I still enjoy watching it. And okay, maybe I'm in a minority, but for whatever reason, I just find Heroes of the Storm very, very enjoyable, so I really enjoy watching it when I'm just relaxing. When it comes to other sports, when it comes to actual sports, sorry, that I enjoy watching but I have no idea how to play, I would have to say that rugby would probably be the sport that I find most enjoyable, but have zero idea how to play. Because, I mean, that's probably a very, very, very American thing. Actually, I'm sure it's a very American thing. Like, I have no idea how to play rugby at all. I know that you run into each other, you gotta like drop the ball in the end zone, or if that's what they call it, and then you have these weird angles that you try to kick the ball through the uprights, and that's the extent of my knowledge on rugby. But at the same time, if it's on, I'll be like, oh, this is so cool. But again, still zero idea how to play it at all. So yeah, let me know, is there a video game or an actual sport that you guys enjoy watching but have zero idea how to play? Leave that in the comment section down below. I'm really just kind of looking for somebody else to back me up here and tell me that I'm not alone on this. But anyway, onto the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Golisopod-GX and Garbodor. It's very similar, almost exactly similar to the deck that was used to win Worlds. Well, not win Worlds, sorry, that was Gardevoir. To get second at Worlds, and honestly, that was really, really cool just to see Golisopod going almost all the way to the top right there. And pretty much just straightforward. You use Golisopod with First Impression to hit for 120 damage. You try to switch between them. Continually hit for 120 damage for a single energy. And then in certain situations, you can Armor Press for 100 and then take 20 less damage, but First Impression gives you 120 for 1 energy, while Armor Press gives you 100 for 3 energy. You guys can kind of see where the trade-off comes in, but then you can also use Crossing Cut GX, 150 damage, switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So it's a very, very versatile attacker. Well, correction, it's not super versatile. It hits for 1 energy really, really hard, and that's why it's good. So yeah, that's what Golisopod does, and then we're pairing it with Garbodor just because Garbodor is freaking amazing. With Trash Launch, I mean, really what this deck kind of comes down to is I'm going to be attacking with Golisopod repeatedly. Your opponent's going to have to use items in order to be able to take on the Golisopods, knock them out, keep them from continually switching and not getting healed. Well, I guess not so much getting healed as picked up with Acerola, potentially getting healed with Tapu Lele-GX GRI. But really, it's just kind of going to come down to your opponent's force play items to deal with Golisopod, and then Garbodor comes in and takes out the takes them out when they use all of their items. And also, this Garbodor is in a little higher number than usual, because the main strategy is you shut off your opponent's abilities, don't let them do what they want to do, and then Golisopod, because it doesn't rely on abilities, just continually hits with first impression. So pretty straightforward in that regard. I'm just going to go through the numbers of mons. 3-3 of Wimpod and Golisopod, that's Golisopod's main attacker. If your opponent knocks out 3 Golisopods, they win the game anyway, so running 4 is kind of unnecessary. 1 Tapu Koko, because we're already running DCE in this deck. Tapu Koko has free retreat. It's kind of a combination with like Guzma or something to that effect, where you can just throw Tapu Koko active, retreat back into Golisopod, and then have a 120 damage first impression as opposed to needing to rely on Float Stone, that type of thing. 2 Tapu Lele for Wonder Tag, and in certain situations you can use Tapu Cure GX, although I've found that I've actually never used Tapu Cure GX. I've pretty much always used Crossing Cut if I've used a GX attack. However, Tapu Cure, because we are running Rainbow Energy, is definitely an option, and also we're running DCE, so Tapu Lele is a solid attacker. And then 4 2-2 of Trubbish and both Garbodors. Trubbish, because you obviously need that to evolve. And then 2 Trash Lanch and 2 Garbotoxin. Normally you see like a 3-1 in a Garbodor-centric deck, but because this is Golisopod-centric, we want a little bit more of the Garbotoxin so that we can shut off abilities relatively reliably, so we are running heavier line of Garbotoxin. As for the items, 2 Field Blower, just to get rid of those choice bands that can cause some problems for Lele and Golisopod. Also get rid of Float Stones. Really just get items into your opponent's discard pile so that Trash Lanch does more damage. 2 Heavy Ball, because, Wimpod, Golisopod, Garbodor, all of those can be sought out with Heavy Ball, and that's just a non-discard way of being able to search our Pokemon. The rest of the searching, we just use our 4 Ultra Ball to get guaranteed whatever we need when we need it. 1 Rescue Stretcher and 1 Special Charge as the means of recursion. Rescue Stretcher lets us shuffle 3 into the deck or grab 1 into our hand. You only have 1 Rescue Stretcher, so you better make your choice wisely, and then Special Charge because the majority of our energy in this deck are special. 4-4-3 of Sycamore and Guzma, that's kind of what I've grown accustomed to using, and it works out pretty well. Without VS Seeker, you want to have as much draw support as possible, but also a decent amount of Guzmas, and Guzma also works really, really well with first impression, being able to just like Guzma into one of your things with a Float Stone or Tapu Koko and free retreat back into the Golisopod to be able to hit for 120. 1 Brigette, because Lele into Brigette is the ideal start for this deck, and then that's not Acerola. And then 3 Acerola to act as pseudo healing for Golisopod, because one thing Golisopod does is it's actually pretty bulky. 210 for a stage 1, that's pretty nice. So it's not normally going to go down in one hit, and then you're not really losing a whole lot of energy by picking up a Golisopod, because normally it just has 1 energy on it. So by picking that up, you can just evolve another Wimpod, play an energy onto the Golisopod that you just evolved that you picked up, and so basically what the scenario that I'm going through, you have a Wimpod on the bench, you have a Golisopod active that's heavily damaged, Acerola up the Golisopod, grab the energy, Wimpod and Golisopod into your hand, promote your Wimpod, play the Golisopod, play the energy, and boom, there you go. Although might be different considering Golisopod was not technically active. I actually haven't run into that situation. Normally what I do is I Acerola up, put a Float Stone Mon or a Tapu Koko active, evolve into Golisopod, then retreat into that. So I think that's the way it has to work, because Golisopod has to physically be on the bench, then active. It doesn't work, I think, if it's like Wimpod evolving. I don't know. That might be something that we'll run into. So we'll see. 4-3 of Float Stone and Choice Band, absolute max number of Float Stones, because not only are they needed for Garbodor, but also for Golisopod to be able to switch between the 2 of them, and, between 2 of them, and be able to continue first impression, and also Choice Band, because, Choice Band into Golisopod, that is an insane amount of damage. That's 150 damage for 1 energy, which, whew, boy, that's nice. And then as for the energy, 4-4 of Rainbow and DCE. DCE because, our attackers rely on DCE except for Garbodor. Rainbow because that works for both Golisopod and Garbodor, and Lele to a lesser extent. And then 3 just regular grass. I would run 7 Rainbow, but unfortunately we cannot, so we're running 3 grass just because that's how it works. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is for the deck. Let's go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Bininho 21 with a fighting and psychic deck. So, if it's like a fighting type that is weak to grass, then we are definitely good to go. And if there's just some psychic types, then even better. Start off with an absolutely awesome opening hand. This This hand is quite frankly fantastic because what I have is I have a Trubbish. I'll be able to get a Float Stone onto it. I have a Wimpod. I have an Energy. Like, yeah, I'm good to go. So let's go ahead and play the Energy there. Float Stone up the Trubbish, and then N. Didn't get anything else. Hopefully I can get... Okay, so this hand is less amazing. But let's go ahead and play the other Trubbish down, just because, I mean, I drew a Trash Lance Trubbish, so I might as well. And then I will go ahead and end my turn right there, because what I can do next turn is Heavy Ball for a Golisopod, and yeah, I should be good to go, actually. He can corner me, I think. Yeah, can't retreat. But what I can do to get out of that corner is just evolve into a Garbodor, and then manually retreat, and then I can just, you know, go from there. So he is going to corner me. That's fine. I have the Garbodor in my hand. Get another Wimpod, which is actually pretty nice. Unfortunately, I don't have any supporters, but I think at this point, because I'll have a Golisopod fully powered up and active, I think I should actually be okay. So what I'm going to do is evolve the active Garbodor so that I have the ability to retreat. Go ahead and retreat into Golisopod. Let's just go ahead and play the DC just because, see what's in my deck, search through their 2-2, 3-2 of N and Sycamore, and then I got 2 Rainbow Energies in there, so yeah, you know what, let's just go ahead and, I mean, I could First Impression for more damage, but the better play is to Armor Press because it also allows me to have 20 less damage done to me next turn, and my opponent just concedes. So, I mean, we'll take that, I guess. I mean, I assume that my opponent just conceded because he saw that, 1, he was up against a grass deck who would easily be able to repeatedly OHKO him, and 2, I got rid of his only energy on the field, so even Lycanroc, if it came down, wouldn't be able to attack. But yeah, that was game 1. Let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against a Venusaur fan, 4895 with a water deck. So if this is Greninja, which it looks like based on the Froakie coin, then I think we are going to absolutely steamroll them, because not only will we be hitting for weakness, I will be able to shut off their abilities with Trubbish. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and promote Wimpod, just because, I mean, it does have free retreat this first turn, even without the Float Stone. I mean, to be fair, I do have the Float Stone, which is just nice all over. And my opponent, unfortunately for me, only mulligans once, so I will only get 1 card off that mulligan. But I mean, hey, that's 1 more card than we had. I have a pretty solid hand, and I think this is something we can just roll with. So yes, I will take that extra card, and it's another Trubbish, so we can definitely work with that. Let's go ahead and Choice Band up the Wimpod, just because, honestly, the only real answer I have is because why the heck not? Double Float Stone up the Trubbishes, force my opponent to play a Field Blower, and then let's go ahead and Tapu Lele for, I think, just a Sycamore, because, I mean, if I lose my Acerola, it's not honestly a huge deal, and this way I don't give my opponent 6 cards, and I get a hand of 7, so this hand actually works out really well. What I'm going to do is retreat into my Trubbish, and then just end the turn right there. What I think I'm unfortunately going to have to do is use my GX attack in order to knock out this Talonflame, but at the same time, shouldn't be a huge deal overall, simply because I will be able to, I mean, I won't need my GX attack really at any other point in the game. So my opponent did play that Field Blower and get rid of 2 Float Stones, which is actually really unfortunate. I probably should have only played 1 Float Stone to try to bait out the Field Blower, so that means I'll have to be very careful with my Float Stones later in the game. But what this allows me to do is... actually, you know what? Instead of playing it onto the Lele, because it's going to be doing absolutely nothing for me, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it, save all the energy that I have, grab that Golisopod, and then I'm 1000% going for N this turn. I mean, my opponent just picked out 2 cards from the deck, still hasn't been able to get out of Froakie yet, so if I'm just going to N, make him put those back into his deck, not let him have exactly what he wants, and I even get the Float Stone. So, like, on top of all that, that's even better. So let's just Float Stone up the Trubbish. I can Heavy Ball. I think I'm just going to grab... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab the Garbotoxin Garbodor. That way my opponent doesn't have abilities. I mean, I could have grabbed a Wimpod so that I'd have another Golisopod, but I think this one Golisopod could have gone the distance. Well, I mean, technically did go the distance now that my opponent forfeited, but what I was doing was just trying to get 2 Garbotoxin Garbodor set up, that way my opponent can just like Guzma one up and knock it out, that type of thing. So, yeah, that was second game. My opponent really didn't get going, but we would have steamrolled him anyway. Too short. Let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we've got another one against Fabiano Lima with a pure Psychic deck, so this one could be interesting to say the least. We do win the coin flip, meaning we will get to go first, and yeah, of course I'm going to want to go first. I start off with actually probably the best possible hand for me. I mean, I'll be able to start with the Trubbish, I'll bridge it into like a Trubbish and a couple Trubbish and a Wimpod probably, and I even get a Golisopod for next turn. So let's just go ahead and bridge it, grab, I think, 2 Trubbish and a Wimpod. Yeah, because this is obviously, we're up against a Garbodor deck, I think that's going to be my way of playing it. Energy up the Wimpod, and I think just call it a turn right there. What I can do if my opponent ends up attacking me is just Acerola this Trubbish from the field and then go into Golisopod and attack. So my opponent's already playing an item. That's really good for me. Just the more items he plays, the better off I will be. Overall. We do see him get rid of an Altar of the Moon. Really hope my opponent doesn't end, because this hand that I have right now is absolutely phenomenal. Hindsight 2020, probably should have grabbed a second Wimpod. Maybe a second Wimpod as opposed to the third Trubbish, just because, I mean, abilities won't be that significant, but we do see the Eevee come out, so maybe if I can get... Okay, never mind, I won't be able to cancel out the energy evolution, but I don't know, maybe just something with Rescue Stretcher getting a Garbodor back out or something like that I can be able to pull off. My opponent is going to energy evolve into an Espeon, so this is an Espeon Garbodor deck and should be an interesting match to say the least. I'm not sure how this plays out. I hope it's in my favor. I mean, if I can continually first impression, then it will be. But what I can do... unfortunately, my opponent did not end me. So what I'm going to do is attach the energy... Well, actually, I'm going to save my... Basically, what I did was energied up the Trubbish with the Rainbow Energy, which put the damage counter on it. Then I could Acerola it back up. So overall, I do technically lose an attachment. Like I didn't get an attachment for the turn, but what I did get was a knockout without playing any items or giving my opponent a new hand. So he's going to promote his Espeon, and go for just a Psybeam. Oh my gosh, he's going to be one of those guys. So instead of actually Psychicking me, he's going to go for the Psybeam. And that's honestly stupidly annoying, because the fact that... honestly, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. But what I really don't like... I hate confusion. I think it is one of the dumbest parts of the entire game. Like, I do not think that confusion should be a thing. What I am going to do right here is go ahead and grab another Wimpod. That way, at the very least, I can have a Garbodor, or I can have a Golisopod up next turn if I'm not able to take the knockout on this Espeon this turn. But, okay, let's do that, and then let's go ahead and shut off abilities, I think. Yeah, let's do that, and then let's go for Crossing Cut GX, get myself out of the active spot. Or not, never mind. So I hate confusion. I think it is one of the dumbest parts of the game, because, I mean, yeah, confusion's a huge part of the video game, like it's just a part of Pokemon in general. But the fact that one attack, like my opponent intentionally went for 60 less damage just to confuse me, and basically put the fact that I lose my Golisopod on a coin flip. Like, the entire fact that I lose my Golisopod is based on a coin flip, and then, yeah, now, like, I didn't even get to really do much about it. Like, basically, confusion is just absolutely zero downside for your opponent. Like, oh yeah, I can go for confusion. I mean, if they don't have another attacker, then that means I'm able to knock them out, and if they do, well... And if they do decide to attack and flip tails, well, it works out for me too. Like, basically, I hate confusion. I think it is one of the dumbest parts of the TCG. Like, I really do. I think there are so many better things that can be done. And okay, so I get a bunch of get a bunch of Float Stones and Field Blowers. What I am going to do is go ahead and get rid of that Choice Band because that's annoying. And see, right here, my Golisopod is... Oh, my opponent's Espeon is not going to get knocked out because of the Confusion Flip. So he's going to get another attack off. And he's going to be able to, like, not only will this Espeon survive, but he got 2 prizes off of me. And he's going to be able to get another hit off of this Golisopod simply due to Confusion. Like, Confusion takes skill out of the game, honestly. Like, yeah, it was a skillful play by my opponent to go for Psybeam when Psychic would have only done 60 more damage, which, to be fair, I mean 60 damage could be pretty significant in the right situation, but that's beside the point. The fact that my opponent was skillful in abusing what is such a stupidly broken mechanic in Confusion, but just Confusion in itself removes a ton of skill for the game, and I really hate that it does that. And, I mean, in case you can't tell by my saltiness, so he is gonna... Frickin' Psybeam again, are you kidding me? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm, like, sounding super salty, guys, but this is ridiculously annoying. Like, the fact that my opponent is able to do that is so insanely annoying. What I can do is Field Blower away my own... Yeah, I'm going to Field Blower away my own Choice Band, get rid of my opponent Garbodor's Choice Band. And I think I'm going to do the same play as I did before. Or actually, no. I'm just going to try to grab... I'm going to try to get a Garbodor. I do, but I'll be getting rid of 2 good things in the process. So, yeah, I mean, Confusion... Just that Confusion is making me waste so many resources. So not only did the Confusion end up getting my opponent a KO and an extra hit off of this Golisopod, but it also forced me to use so many resources just to try to play around it a little bit. And, man, Confusion is just a stupid mechanic. It really is. I hate it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so he'll be able to knock out my Garbodor, but my Golisopod will be able to knock him right back out. Unless he Field Blowers, and of course he gets the Field Blower. I know, and of course he gets that Field Blower. I'm trying not to become salty right now, but it's really hard. 5. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be able to one-shot. I'll be able to one-shot Espeon with Garbodor if it comes back out. But unfortunately, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, but unfortunately he will be able to knock out my Garbodor this turn, take another prize. And I mean, even though I'm ahead on prizes, like, I just feel like I'm in such a bad spot. Because he has an Eevee with a DCE already on it. He has 2 Garbodors powered up. Meanwhile, I have a whole lot of nothing, to be honest. I can heal up this Golisopod at the very least. And then get another Wimpod down there ready to go. Energy up this Golisopod, retreat into it, and then take a knockout on this Garbodor. But after I play this other Trubbish, just, again, in case something happens. In case my opponent plays Karen and I get my Trash Lanch back in the deck. But I get the Choice Band. Okay, so right now I'm actually in an okay spot. He can't knock me out just yet. I will be able to Energy Evolution, which is unfortunate, because now he has a fully powered up, completely damage-free Espeon that he can work with. This is going to be very tricky to come down to the end game. He ends me. Okay, please something that I can work with. Alright, please. I think Confusion has been bad enough to me. I think I deserve something. That's nothing. I mean, at the very least, it'll allow me to... And of course he gets his other Field Blower. Of course he gets that to force me to play down my Koko. Man. Salty. Pretzel Sticks is here, guys. Pretzel Sticks is so here right now. End to 3, and he gets a card, and he gets the one card that can, like, really save him. Because now I have to play down the Koko if I want to be able to Guzma, which does not leave my bench open for a Tapu Lele. Oh my gosh, that's stupidly annoying. That is ridiculously annoying. He is just gonna manually retreat into. Of course he's gonna Psybeam. Of frickin' course he's gonna Psybeam. I hate my opponent. I really do. Like, stop abusing Psybeam. Like, really. Like, that's... Okay, so, like, I was tipping my hat to him earlier, but now he's not even playing. Like, he's just going for coin flips. He's just like, you know what? I don't feel like actually winning this, so... I don't feel like winning this just trying to outplay, so I'm just gonna go... I'm just going to make sure that this match is entirely based on coin flips. But what I can do right here is actually set up the Lele to be knocked out by Tapu Koko. Because what I can do is go ahead and play out all the cards in my hand, unfortunately. I did not get end well. And then let's go for a crossing cut, switch right back out into this Tapu Koko. And the second that I get... If my opponent cannot retreat his Lele... The second I get a DCE... Well, actually, if it can't retreat his Lele, then I just win next turn. But the second I get a DCE, I'll be able to Flying Flip and knock him out. So, my opponent does, of course, get an Ultra Ball and is going to grab a Lele. I'm hoping he just goes for a Sycamore. 2, 3, 4, 5... Not enough to one-shot a Lele, but he's either going to go for a Sycamore or a Guzma. Honestly, I'm just hoping that I draw into something useful. Like, if I draw into something useful, I think I can win. Well, obviously, because, I mean, this Lele is literally just a DCE away from getting knocked out. So, like, anything. Acerola. Okay, he's going to Guzma. He's going to bring up my Golisopod. And he's going to Psychic. Yeah, he's going to bring up my Golisopod, and he's going to Psychic for a bunch of damage. But I will be able to survive at the very least. Yeah, so he's going to Psychic right here. He's going to do 150 damage. Not quite knock me out, but put me in range, and he's going to Psybeam. God, that is so ridiculously annoying. Like, stop it. Please stop. Like, I hate confusion. I really do. Like, my opponent is abusing a broken mechanic. But you know what? Screw it. I'm putting this game on a coin flip because I've drawn nothing good. And there we go. Alright, so Armor Press, I luckily am able to hit through Confusion. But man, I hate Confusion. That's just such... It just removes skill from the game even more. And now he's going to Psychic. I do, fortunately, survive. And now... Oh my gosh, that's ironic. If I had hit myself in Confusion, I think I would actually win at this point. Like, if I'd hit myself in Confusion on that turn, I think I would have won, because then I would have gotten knocked out. I would have been able to Lele for a Sycamore, I could Lele for a Sycamore, probably get a DCE or something, or an Energy and a Garbodor to be able to knock out my opponent's Espeon, but I'm just going to end the turn right there. Once he knocks out Golisopod, I'll have a bench spot free for Koko, and then Lele, I'll be able to play down Lele, and so be able to play down Lele, and then Sycamore, hopefully get a DCE to knock out, or a Garbodor and a Psychic Energy. So, oh wait, he has Divide GX. Never mind, I lose. So, man, that is so annoying. So, Confusion, yeah. I mean, like, okay, my opponent played very, very well. Like, he made the best plays in the situations that he had, but just the fact that Confusion won him the game. Like, if it weren't for Confusion, he would have lost, because I would have still had resources. I wouldn't have had to play down the Koko, meaning I would have had the ability to grab I would have had a bench spot open to play down Lele. If he didn't have Confusion, I wouldn't have knocked myself out early. I would have attacked right there, knocked out the Espeon, and won the game. I mean, admittedly, that very, very last turn was on me. Like, I should have attacked and see if I could hit through Confusion in order to knock out his Espeon. But just the fact that the game would have been... Well, the game was put on a coin flip if I hadn't overlooked Divide GX. But just the fact that Confusion, just that coin flip took so much skill out of the game, in my opinion. It was just kind of a free... yeah, I'm just gonna make you waste resources around it. So, sorry, rant about confusion. Despite pretzel sticks, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Why not? See you guys.